I'm not plugging it because it's probably it's terrible. I've got this book coming out, and there's a chapter on what I call prospecting, which is a skill that I learned back in the residential arena. And I was taught this by a guy named Mike Ferry. He's mostly a residential real estate educator, but you can go to MikeFerry.com and download his scripts and dialogues and see what he does, or attend one of his events if you want to learn about this skill called prospecting, which is no more than dialing. I used to call it dialing for dollars, whatever it may be. You know, you have a list of people, sphere of influence. You just create a very simple script, and I would just call people. I mean, I literally, I'd call all our current investors and I'd say, hey, Tim, you know, I have I've got 4 more shares left. They're $50,000 each. I'm wondering who else you might know that might consider looking at a deal like this. And I would, you know, get some names and numbers and emails, and then I'd fire the people a packet, and I'd call them up and I'd say, hey, Joe, you know, I got your name from Tim. He's invested with us in deals, and I sent you a packet by email. Would you mind taking a look at it? I wondered if you'd have any interest in it, or if you have any feedback on it. You know, would like to hear your thoughts on that. And I would try and engage people in the process of, you know, what do you think of this deal? I'd like to hear about it. I love getting questions. I don't want to make mistakes. So if somebody has something that they bring up on one of my deals and I can't address it, or it causes me a little bit of angst and worry, then, you know, hey, maybe I don't have the greatest deal out there, and let's avoid that one or do something else. Now, that doesn't happen too often anymore because, you know, I'd like to think we think of everything, but you know, you can't always think of everything. But after 20 plus years in the business, you don't hear a lot of new questions or things like that. It's more, well, market concerns, things like that. But in terms of starting out and growing your database, I'd keep a list of everybody. I'd go to the doctor's office, you know, for an eye check. I've had some eye surgeries in the past, and I'd say, hey, doc, I really appreciate you taking care of me. I'd like to take care of you. I don't know if you know what I do for a living, but I make rich people richer. And, you know, you have to meet the accredited investor criteria, which I know you do as a doctor. If you'd like, I'd be happy to send you a packet. Absolutely no obligation, but I certainly appreciate what you've done for me here. And I'd love to, you know, make you some money if you're interested. And so, you know, just little scripts like that I would kind of design. And then so I'd get their contact info. Now I've got a doctor's email and cell phone number, which I've probably got 150 of now. And I'll tell you what, that comes in way more handy than you could possibly imagine. I mean, you know, if I feel like, oh, I've got, you know, something's bothering me in my chest, I've got 40 heart physicians at a world-class facility. I've got all their cell numbers. I can call them up and say, hey, doc, I'm having this little, you know, thing there. And they're like, come on in right now. Well, I'm here. And, you know, I'll get an EKG or whatever. This happened once a couple of years ago. It was nothing, but, you know, it's a nice thing to have. So I'm not, I kind of treat it like I'm doing them a favor, which I think most people, when they're out there looking for money, are thinking they're kind of like begging or asking for money. Well, you know, I've got a pretty solid track record. I've not lost, I guess I will, you're going to ask me that, so I'll save that story about have I ever lost investor capital. But, you know, honestly, I kind of look at it like, what the heck are you going to do with your money? I mean, nobody really knows what to do with their money. I have the trouble with it myself. So I put it in all my own deals because I understand them or think I do. And so I think I'm doing people kind of a favor, but I try not to present it that way either. You have to be careful about that as well, because, you know, if you're appreciative and you're going to go a lot further. And to be honest with you, I am, primarily because I can't do anything without their capital. So them trusting me and placing their capital with me, you know, is very important. So try and balance those two things, but that's how I'd say I basically got to this point. Now we have an investor relations department, and I don't get to have quite as many conversations with new investors. I still try to at least once a week, just because I love it. And I like talking to people and learning about what they do. And my network of people is the most powerful thing I have. It's the best. It's my biggest asset.